I'm your host, Laura Berry, and welcome to Out of the Box, an interview series about the abusive practice of solitary confinement. For the next 7 weeks, you will be hearing some very personal and heartfelt stories of survivors of solitary confinement, family members of those in solitary, and experts working to change the narrative of how solitary is used. These stories are all very personal to me. After being imprisoned as a child and personally spending 11,962 days in prison, some of which was spent in solitary while pregnant from a sexual assault by a correctional officer, I know the horror of solitary confinement all too well. I have no doubt that you will be moved by these stories as well. So, without further ado, let's get started. Good afternoon. This afternoon, I'm going to be interviewing Patricia Gentry, um, a lady that I have come to know quite well and have a great deal of respect and love for. And I'm going to start by Patricia. If you'll just kind of um, tell us in a few short words or sentences who you are and why you have an interest in stopping solitary confinement in the state of Arkansas.
Okay. Hello. My name is Patricia Gentry, and I have a son that is incarcerated, and I am very interested in the solitary confinement because my son has been in lockdown for 4 years, and it is so heartbreaking. It is like torture to them, and it needs to stop. It is just, it's not a good thing for them. And Gavino is experiencing depression really bad, and he has seen some stuff that is just horrible in there that has gone on with being in solitary confinement, and it's not a good thing for them.
Patricia, you and I've had a pretty in-depth conversation about how Gavino being in solitary, how it affects you emotionally, mentally, physically, how it
Yeah.
affects your mother. Can you kind of share some of that about how solitary confinement not only affects Gavino, but how it affects you as well?
Yes, depression, really, and your heart breaks. My heart is so broken over, him getting in there, and then them keeping him in there. And my mom is, it breaks her heart. She is 79, and it just, it hurts her so bad. I have to constantly talk to her. Gavino calls her all the time, and she is, it breaks her heart, and it's hard on her, for her, for Gavino to go through that and experience all that. And my mom, it's hard on her, really hard.
Um, Patricia, when's the last time you were able to see Gavino in person because of solitary confinement?
It's been, I haven't been able to touch him and hug him. It's been 4 years.
And kind of share with me a little bit, if you don't mind, what is it like not being able to see or touch or hold your son that you know needs your love and comfort? What is it
Yes.
like for a mother not to be able to touch and see her only son?
It's hard. Depression, really. I have a lot of depression with that. And then when he calls, I've got to be the one that's upbeat and keep him going because he is so down in the dumps. Um, and when I get off the phone, I'm crying. I'm on my knees, and I mean, it's hard, very
Um,
hard.
do you feel comfortable sharing some of the things that maybe you heard in the background while talking to Gavina on the phone? Sharing some of the things he's uh, shared with you about what he's having to see and experience while he's in solitary?
Yeah, Gavino, when he got down to where he's at, he said that when he got there, he witnessed a lot of hangings, and he said, "Mom," he said, there was like 4 a month, and that's so hard, and it's because of the way that they're treated in there. They're treated really terrible. Gavino, he was time for him to get off of his, I guess, it was getting close for him to be off of his punishment. And somebody come up and he thought they were going to take his tray, and he bumped the guy with the tray, and he got wrote up for that. And had to do, I want to say, 8 more months. He's either 8 months or a year. And here he was fixing to get off his punishment. And a lot of it is, I think they pick on him. Gavino has also told me that something about they get to watch movies on like Friday nights, Saturday nights, and one of the guards just took the control and broke it in front of them, so they couldn't get their movie night. And that's the only thing they look forward to. That is so hard. It's tough. Gavino said that, some of them, they tease the prisoners, and to get them where they explode, and they get in trouble.
Right. So, what would you like to see change as far as solitary confinement is concerned? Um, you've gotten to know what the goals of decarcerate is to end solitary and try to make conditions better for those situations where solitary is just absolutely necessary, but at the same time do away with all the unnecessary use of solitary where you keep people in confinement for months and months and years. So
Yes.
what would you like to the public to know and the legislators to know? What would you like as a mother to say to anybody that has the power to stop solitary confinement in the state of Arkansas?
I think it needs to be a minimum 15 days at max, and let them have, Gavino. They're in like a little cell, and they don't get to stretch. They don't get to move. Gavino, he hasn't. I mean, his back is hurting him, and it's because he's confined in the cell. He can't move. He doesn't get to go outside. He doesn't exercise. He wants to work, but they won't let him because they keep him confined in the cell. Um, I would like to see, no more than 15 days. And, Gavino said there's a lot of unfairness in there. One thing should be all for all the inmates, and it's not. There's a lot of stuff going on where people are not treated the same.
Right. So, would it be fair to say, and summing up basically what you've shared with us and what you shared with me in the past, is that instead of treating them like non-humans, like keeping them in this small cell, you would like to see a different type of punishment, maybe put on a
Yes.
workforce or
Yeah.
extra detail or something that teaches them
Yes.
as opposed to just restraining them and
Yeah.
causing all the extra mental and emotional anguish.
Yes. That's what they need. They need to put them to work, have them digging ditches or something besides keeping them in lockdown and not letting them get out and move their legs, or their, just keeping them confined down. It's hard on them. Depression sets in.
Right.
They're not able to get air, or breathe, or breathe the air, or nothing. A lot of them, if they don't have windows, they can't see outside for
Right.
years. It's just not, it's not right.
All right.
Yeah.
Is there any last statement or comment that you want to leave our audience with as a final closing to our conversation that you feel everybody needs to hear?
I think that solitary confinement is just, it is torture to the inmates. It's emotional damaging to them, physically, mentally. It's just breaking them down. They're suicidal. Gavino has seen so many hangings in there. And, at one time, Gavino was like, I'm giving up. I said, you can't give up, son. There is no giving up. None. So it's hard. It's very hard on them.
Patricia, I want to say thank you for, I know it's hard to talk about this, and I know it's um, hard to know day in and day out that Gavino is in this situation. And I appreciate so much you opening yourself up to being vulnerable enough to talk to me and share with everybody in hopes of us changing this. So I just want to say I hope and pray, that you can take some comfort in knowing that we are fighting to end solitary in the state of Arkansas, and
Yeah.
it's a fight that we are dedicated to. And I want to thank you for taking your time with us today.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
I can't help but believe that after hearing the story today, you're motivated to join us in this fight. Here are a few ways to get involved. Read our report about solitary confinement on Decarcerate's website. Follow us online over the next several weeks. We'll be posting lots of content about solitary confinement on our Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram pages. Donate to the campaign. It's only through the financial contributions of supporters like you that we're able to continue this work. And finally, send us an email to join our monthly In Solitary meetings, where you can learn how to volunteer with us and help us strategize our work. Again, thank you.